All right, the time being 6 o'clock, and this being the Plymouth Select Board, I will call to order the Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 meeting of the Plymouth Select Board. Please join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Tonight's meeting of the Plymouth Select Board is taking place in a hybrid format. We have members of the board joining us here in person at the Great Hall at Town Hall. We may have members of the public or presenters joining us here in the Great Hall to speak or present. We may have them joining us over the Zoom webinar platform to speak or present. Members of the public who wish to attend or participate in this meeting may do so by coming to the Great Hall here at Town Hall and joining us in person, or by joining us over the Zoom webinar platform, the login information for which is included on the agenda that is posted on the town website. You may also observe this meeting without participating by watching it on television on Comcast Channel 9, Verizon Channel 47, or you may watch it over the internet on the YouTube streaming channel for the local scene. Members of the public are also reminded, pursuant to Massachusetts general law, that any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of the Plymouth Select Board after notifying the chair, subject to reasonable requirements of the chair, so as to not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any recordings. We are currently aware of only recordings being made by the local scene for the web broadcast and the Zoom. All right, so with that in mind, we will move into our agenda proper. The first thing on our agenda this evening is the Police Department swearing-in ceremony. We are joined by our Chief of Police, Dana Flynn.
Good evening, Mr. Canty. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity for this special occasion to be held at your board meeting. Very special night for the department. Two new promotions. 8 brand new officers will be sworn in tonight. One of our promotions is a first for the department and for the town of Plymouth. We'll be swearing in our first ever deputy police chief. As you remember, a few years back, we conducted a department study to take a look at our organization and see how we operate and to see where we can improve. And one of the recommendations was to take one of my 3 captains, make that a deputy's position, so we have a better chain of command, better organizational structure, and so we're proud to be here today with our first deputy. So we're going to start with the promotions swearing in.
Okay.
First one is going to be Deputy James LeBreton. Deputy Chief James LeBreton. Deputy LeBreton has been a member of the police department since 2006. He served as a K-9 officer from 2011 until he was promoted to sergeant and the patrol supervisor in 2016. In 2019, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and assigned as a shift commander. He was promoted to the rank of captain in 2021, where he oversaw the professional standards division and was responsible for their internal affairs, police officer standards and training commission, officer wellness, training, and accreditation. In 2022, Deputy LeBreton was reassigned to oversee the operations division, which includes patrol, investigation, specialty units, prosecution, school resource officers, special events, and at his insistence, maintained oversight of the our officer wellness program. He is a graduate of Plymouth North High School, and he holds both undergrad and graduate degrees from Curry College, and he's a U.S. Coast Guard veteran. Deputy LeBreton will be pinned by his wife, Crystal, and his sons, Nicholas and Travis. Lieutenant Andrew Carney. Lieutenant Carney has been a member of the Plymouth Police Department since 2016. He was previously employed by the Hanover Police Department as a patrol officer for 5 years. He was promoted to sergeant in August of 2021 and served as a patrol supervisor where he oversaw the mountain bike unit. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Bridgewater State College, as well as master's degree in criminal justice administration from Curry College. He is a veteran of the United States Navy and has attended the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association Supervisor and Executive Leadership training programs. He has held positions in the department's bicycle unit, honor guard, street crimes unit, and has served as a field training officer. Lieutenant Carney will be pinned by his wife, Plymouth Police Officer Kelsey Carney.
Congratulations. I will administer the oath. If you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that I will fairly and equitably execute the laws thereof within the extent of my authority and jurisdiction. So help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a, please state your title, of the Town of Plymouth Police Department, and I will obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as now are or may be from time to time established for the government of the Town of Plymouth Police Department. So help me God. I state your name. Hereby accept the position of, state the title, in and for the Town of Plymouth Police Department of the Town of Plymouth. Congratulations.
Those pilling the new promotees, please step up. Next, we'll do the 8 newest members of the police department. They already had a pinning ceremony, if you will, at their graduation. Tonight's just going to be an introduction to the board and another swearing in by the Madam Clerk. First we have is Officer Patrick Brady. Officer Brady is a Plymouth resident and a 2017 graduate of the Rising Tide Charter School. He graduated in 2021 from Bridgewater State University with a degree in communications. He previously worked for the City of New Bedford in the Human Resources Department. Officer Jared Burke. Officer Burke is a Plymouth resident and a 2018 graduate of Plymouth North High School. He graduated with a degree in philosophy from Bridgewater State University, and he previously worked as a music store manager. I would like to note that his dad, retired Plymouth Police Sergeant Michael Burke's in the audience with us tonight. Officer Justin Gady. Officer Gady is a Plymouth resident and a 2014 graduate of Marshfield High School. He was previously employed as a manager at the West End Grill in Kingston. Officer Logan Humphreys. Officer Humphreys is a Plymouth resident and a 2021 graduate of Whitman Hanson High School. He is a 2025 graduate of the University of Rhode Island. Officer Humphreys will be joining his sister on the Plymouth Police Department. Officer Joseph Grogan. Officer Grogan is a Plymouth resident and 2013 graduate of Pope John Paul II High School. He graduated from Curry College in 2017 with a degree in management, and he was previously employed as a personal trainer. Officer Nathan Viscarello. Officer Viscarello is a Plymouth resident and a 2021 graduate of Plymouth North High School, and he was previously employed by Mamma Mia's Restaurants Incorporated. Officer McKenna Coolidge. Officer Coolidge is a Plymouth resident and 2020 graduate of Plymouth South High School. In 2024, she graduated from Anna Maria College with a degree in criminal justice. She was previously employed by the YMCA. Officer Joseph Espinola. Officer Espinola is a Plymouth resident and a 2020 graduate of Plymouth North High School. He graduated in 2024 from Westfield State University with a degree in criminal justice. He was previously employed by the Southers Marsh Golf Course.
Congratulations, gentlemen. If you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. All right, and ladies. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that I will fairly and equitably execute the laws thereof within the extent of my authority and jurisdiction. So help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me. Discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a police officer of the Town of Plymouth Police Department. And I will obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as now are or may be from time to time established for the government of the Town of Plymouth Police Department. So help me God. I state your name. Hereby accept the position of police officer in and for the Town of Plymouth Police Department of the Town of Plymouth. Congratulations.
So that concludes our ceremony. And again, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for all the attendees that took the time out of this wet and stormy night to join us.
Thank you, Chief, and congratulations not only to the promoted professionals, but also to the new officers joining you. We hope everyone has a safe and happy career on the Plymouth Police Department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. So we will take approximately a 5-minute recess to allow those in attendance purely for the opening ceremony to conclude themselves. Thank you. All right. Thank you. During the recess, the members of the public that were here to support their family members were able to orderly file out. And out in the hallway, I know that Representatives Kathy Lenatra and Michelle Badger were able to give citations to the newly promoted and newly hired officers joining or being promoted to the force in recognition of their services, citations from the House of Representatives. So we certainly appreciate that, and I'm sure that the officers and their families do as well. So that brings us into the next item on our agenda. We have a series of public hearings. So, first item that we have is a public hearing for a new farmer winery pouring permit for independent fermentations. So I'll read the notice. In accordance with Chapter 138 of the Mass General Laws as amended, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, on Tuesday, July 8th at 6:15 p.m. or thereafter to consider the application for a new farmer winery pouring permit from Independent Fermentations Brewing LLC, 127-2 Camelot Drive, Paul Nixon, manager. Description of premises is as follows. Indoor area is divided into 2 rooms and a walk-in cooler totaling 1,600 square feet, all on the ground level. Winery is in a distinct area adjacent to the area currently permitted for the brewery. Outside patio 55 by 25 feet on the south side of the building. 3,400 square feet area to be used for special events 4 to 5 times a year. This area is in addition and adjacent to the 55 by 25 foot area. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should plan to attend this meeting. All right, so do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant? Yes. Would you like to take the podium and say a few words? Just introduce yourself when you arrive.
Hi, Paul Nixon, Plymouth resident, Patuxent Road in Cedarville, and also the owner, co-owner actually, of Independent Fermentations Brewing. And we've been making beer and kombucha for a while now, and wanted to just diversify, add some options for other people who don't care for those products, and add wine to our repertoire. So the state requires that we get a separate pouring permit for the winery side. We already have a pouring permit for beer, and have successfully served beer in our current location for about 10 years now, and just want to diversify and add the wine component to it. So the state process requires that we have a hearing. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them.
Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the board? When do you anticipate the wine will be offered?
I don't think we need to go back to the state after this, but I'm not entirely sure. If this is the end of the line, before closing time at 7 tonight.
Okay. All right, well, that's...
We've had the production permit since February, I think it was, so we've made about 100 bottles worth so far.
Oh, okay.
It's in storage, ready to go.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Iaquinta?
Yeah, I was actually curious if you were actually making the wine or if you were selling other wines.
Nope, make it ourselves. As a farmer winery, we can only sell what we make ourselves or have made for us under our name. And in our case, we're not really interested in having somebody else make it for us. We're just doing small 5-gallon batches, using actually the same kits we sell in our homebrew shop. So it's sort of an example to those who might want to try it at home, as well as something added to offer in the tap room.
That's great, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant on this public hearing? All right. Thank you, Paul. Anyone here other than the applicant to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none. No one online, Jade? All right. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? No one here. Anyone online? All right. If there's no one else looking to speak, I'll close the hearing. Wish of the board in regards to this particular public hearing from Independent Fermentations.
Move for approval.
Mr. Quintal moves that we approve, and Ms. Mr. Cohan seconds that we approve this new farmer winery pouring permit for independent fermentations. Any discussion from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It is unanimous. We have approved the new farmer winery pouring permit. That brings us into the next item on our agenda, which is also for independent fermentations. This one is an alteration of premises that is related to the prior public hearing. I'll read the notice for this. In accordance with Chapter 138, Massachusetts General Laws as amended, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, at 6:16 p.m. or thereafter, to consider the application for an alteration of premises from Independent Fermentations Brewing LLC, holder of a farmer brewing pouring permit, 127 Camelot Drive, Paul Nixon, manager. Description of premises will be as follows. Applying for a 19H pouring permit. Indoor area is divided into 2 rooms and a walk-in cooler totaling 1,600 square feet, all on the ground level. Winery is in a distinct area adjacent to the area currently permitted for the brewery. Outside patio 55 by 25 feet on the south side of the building. 3,400 square foot area to be used for special events 4 to 5 times a year. This area is an addition and adjacent to the 55 by 25 foot area. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should plan to attend this meeting. So we heard from the applicant previously, but would the applicant wish to be heard in regards to this particular application? I know it's related to what we just approved.
Paul Nixon, Independent Fermentations Brewing. Nothing really to add. This is just part of the state process. For some reason, they have a 2-step process, one of which where you apply for that winery pouring permit, and one where you have to designate another area as the winery pouring area, and that's what this is about.
Okay,
It's just another step in the 2-step process.
all right, thank you. Any questions from board members? Yes, Ms. Iaquinto?
Just to clarify, so this is just reconfiguring the existing space? You're not adding on or
Nope.
just,
Nope.
okay, repurposing?
Okay, any other questions? Hearing and seeing none. Is there anyone here other than the applicant to speak in favor of the application? All right, anyone online? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? No one here? Anyone online? All right, if there's no one else to speak, I will close the hearing. Wish of the board in regards to the alteration of premises public hearing.
Motion to approve?
All right, Mr. Quintal moves. Do I have a second?
A second.
Ms. Iaquinto seconds. Do I have any discussion from any members of the board in regards to this particular application? All right, hearing and seeing none, call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It is unanimous. Congratulations. All right, so that brings us into the next item on our agenda, which is another public hearing. This one is a transfer of an annual wine and malt package store license from Gok Incorporated, doing business as craft beer seller, to Plymouth General Store. I'll read the notice. In accordance with Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws as amended, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, at 6:17 p.m. or thereafter, to consider the application for a transfer of an annual wine and malt package store license from Bugok Incorporated, doing business as craft beer seller, Plymouth, 44 Main Street, Tatum E. Stewart, manager, to Plymouth General Store, LLC, doing business as Plymouth General Store, 44 Main Street, Tatum E. Stewart, manager. Description of premises will be as follows: 2,500 square feet, 1 floor, 2 entrances and exits. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should plan to attend this meeting. Do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant, we are joined by Ms. Stewart, who's taking the microphone.
Hi, good evening. So essentially what we're looking to do is take craft beer cellar and just merge it into Plymouth General Store for a better consumer experience.
Okay. Are any of the offerings changing other than regular inventory?
Regular inventory beer
transients?
and wine, we will be expanding our wine section.
Okay. All right. And it'll just be throughout the business as opposed to sequestered in the back?
Sequestered. We will have it in the back, but we will have some displays throughout the store.
Okay.
It will allow us to license the full space instead of just the back area.
Sure. Okay. All right. Any other questions from members of the board? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone here other than the applicant to speak in favor of the application? Yes, Mr. Lyden.
Steve Lighton, Precinct 17. I've been to the country store numerous times. It's a first-class operation, and I would support this. I can't see if there would be any problems. It would just be a benefit, not only for people going in there, but also for them, being kind of a merger. So I would support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyden. Questions for Mr. Lyden? No questions for Mr. Lyden. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? No one online, I'm being told, either, and no one in person. All right. Anyone here to speak in opposition of this application? No one in person, no one online. Okay, if there's no one else here to speak, I will close the hearing. Wish of the board in regards to this particular application.
Move for approval.
All right, Mr. Quintal has moved that we approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded. Do I have any discussion about whether or not we should approve this application? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. Congratulations. You're welcome. Brings us to the next item on our agenda. Lo and behold, the next item on our agenda is also a public hearing. This one is a change of location of an annual all-alcohol restaurant liquor license in relation to Kogi Bar and Grill. In accordance with Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws, as amended, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, at 6:18 p.m. or thereafter, to consider the application for a change of location of an annual all-alcohol restaurant liquor license from Koji Bar and Grill LLC, doing business as Koji Bar and Grill, Fayette Fan, manager. Location change from 8 Court Street to 35 Main Street, Plymouth. Description of premises will be as follows: 4,200 square feet, 2 floors, main floor for food and alcohol, 2 entrances and exits, an outdoor patio located in the back of the building. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should plan to attend this meeting. Do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of this application? Yes, please come to the podium. Tell us a few things about your application.
Hi, my name is Patricia Choi. I'm one of the co-owners of Kogi Bar and Grill. We are moving from 8 Court Street to 35 Main Street. We have purchased the building, we have renovated it, and so it's the start of our 10th year, going to 11th year.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the, yes, Ms. Iaquinto?
Hi, I know that this was a long time in the coming, so when do you hope to open the new Koji's?
We are shooting for August 1st.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, anyone here other than the applicant to speak in favor of this application? No one in person? No one online? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? No one in person? No one online? All right, if no one else is here to speak, I will close the hearing. Wish of the board in regards to the change of location application.
Motion to approve.
All right, Mr. Quintal has moved. Are we approved? Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded. Any discussion from members of the board as to whether or not we should approve this application? Hearing and seeing none, call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. Congratulations. All right. So that exhausts our current stack of public hearings. Brings us into the licenses section of our agenda. We have a number of licenses. We have several one-day wine and malt licenses, some outdoor amplified music permits, an Eversource utility petition, and a Keno application. Wish of the board in regards to the listed licenses.
Move them all as listed.
Mr. Quintal has moved that we approve them as a group. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded that we approve the listed licenses as a group. Any discussion from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. We have approved the listed licenses. That brings us into administrative notes. So we have listed on the agenda administrative notes 1 through 12. We are pulling admin note 1, and we are tabling admin note 2 for future consideration at the request of a board member. So that leaves us with admin notes 3 through 12. Do we have wish of the board in regards to admin notes 3 through 12, rather?
Move them as listed.
Mr. Quintal has made a motion that we approve admin notes 3 through 12 as a group. Do I have a second?
Second.
Has been moved by Mr. Quintal, seconded by Ms. Iaquinto, that we approve admin notes 3 through 12 as a group. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It is unanimous. We have approved the listed admin notes in regards to 3 through 12 as a group. That brings us into the next item on our agenda, that being the No Place for Hate Outstanding Citizenship Awards. We are joined by members of the No Place for Hate Committee. We are also joined by our state representatives, Michelle Badger and Kathy Lenatra, who are in the audience, having given those citations to our police officers earlier after they were sworn in and recognized. So I will turn it over to the No Place for Hate Committee at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. My name is John Platt with the town's No Place for Hate Committee. Tonight, for the 8th year, we are presenting our Outstanding Citizenship Award. This award recognizes students who make a difference in their community in ways that are consistent with our mission statement, which can be found on our website. The specific eligibility requirements for the award are: a recipient of the award will be a student who, in the opinion of the committee, has shown a commitment to social justice by challenging discrimination or bigotry through his or her actions, and/or who actively works to celebrate diversity or to protect the civil rights of all people in our community. Tonight, we honor 2 amazing young women. Our Vice Chair, Christina Bryant, will tell you about the first one.
Good evening. The first recipient of the 2025 No Place for Hate Outstanding Citizenship Award is Zoe Wojcik, who just graduated from Plymouth South High School. Zoe was nominated by Allison Shaver, who was her teacher this year in a course entitled Human Behaviors. This was a psychology-sociology hybrid course that is geared towards students in the Autism Spectrum Disorder program. Zoe was placed to serve as a mentor to the ASD students, a role which demonstrated her unique gifts and character. Ms. Shaver notes, Zoe was forced to dig deeper into her understanding of topics presented in order to help the other students be successful. Zoe will always reach out to the students who needs a bit more support to get them moving and has such a positive attitude, it is infectious. It is clear that being in a leadership role comes naturally to Zoe and that she enjoys helping others. And she always does it with a smile on her face and makes sure that everyone feels equal. Zoe is an incredible young lady who puts others first. Here's what Zoe had to say about her experience in the class. I was happy to be able to make connections with all of the ASD students by not only talking to them in the classroom, but also in the halls or even by text. Yes, it was sometimes challenging, but we worked through it all together. It made me very happy when I knew I had that class. Zoe also participated in our school's Allies for Equity Club. Its purpose is to celebrate diversity and make the school even more inclusive. One activity of the club, which illustrates the mission, is to make posters each month celebrating a different affinity. This includes Black History Month, Pride Month, and Down Syndrome Awareness Month. As Zoe explains, we plan to make the posters, put them up around the school building to hopefully open the eyes of students walking by. This year, for the first time, we asked the award recipients this question. If there was one problem in society today which you had the power to solve, what would it be and why? Zoe's answer, I would want to solve bullying because the impact of getting bullied hurts people more than we know, and it could make our world a better place if no one was bullied. People need to treat others the way they want to be treated. Indeed. This fall, Zoe will be attending Assumption University, where she will be majoring in communications and media. The Town of Plymouth's No Place for Hate Committee is thrilled to honor Zoe with its Outstanding Citizenship Award. My fellow My fellow committee member, Art Deloges, will present the next award.
Good evening. The second recipient of the Outstanding Citizenship Award is Cassidy Maciel, a rising senior at Rising Tide Charter Public School. She was nominated by Dr. Joseph Fisher, her college and planning counselor. Dr. Fisher said, Cassidy is an agent of positive change in everything she does. She is a member of the Inclusive Events Club, which recently hosted high school students with complex learning challenges from the Riverview School. She also volunteers to work with children through Plymouth Rec and the YMCA so that underserved youth can have an opportunity to celebrate holidays like Halloween. Cassidy is a core member of our service club, where she hand-wrote cards to veterans and nursing home patients with positive messages. When this club disbanded, she joined the Love for Elders organization so that she could continue her work, this time writing personalized letters to patients with cognitive decline. Cassidy has long planned a career in fashion design. She has been making her own clothes since she was 8. This summer, she will be a teacher at the Make It Yourself studio and lead free sewing classes for low-income families. Cassidy believes that all careers ought to have a social justice component. She said, I plan to pursue an education in fashion design with a focus on how the fashion industry impacts society and how it can be used for positive change in the world. I am especially focused on the environmental impact of the fashion industry. My goal is to include social movements into my career. When we asked Cassidy about the challenges facing society, she said, if I could change anything, I would want people to be more open-minded. The world is very divided, especially recently, and I believe this division breeds hatred. Many of the world's problems have solutions, yet people are unwilling to listen to each other long enough to implement these solutions. If we were just more willing to listen to each other, even when we have opposing ideas, I believe everyone could gain valuable insights, and more of the world's problems could be solved. Speaking for myself, I know this citizenship award, in part, is based on the principle of inclusion. And I believe that the opposite of inclusion, exclusion, is the root cause of many terrible behaviors and tragic outcomes in this world. All of us, including myself, are confronted with instances of exclusion every day, big and small. We can choose to either roll over or we can step up. Cassidy and Zoe chose to step up. Keep at it. And with that, the Plymouth No Place for Hate Committee is honored to present Cassidy Maciel with its Outstanding Citizenship Award. And now we're going to bring up Representative Badger and Lenatra and Miss Flynn from Senator Fernandez's office.
Every year, I'm reminded of the debate. I should take this off, sorry. I'm not sick, I'm just trying to prevent other people, because my voice. So every year, I'm reminded of the dialogue that we had that 8 or 9 years ago when this first was developed, and how the committee really sat around and really wanted to make sure we found students that we could lift and elevate the great work they were doing that so many times goes unnoticed. And just sitting here listening, and last year and every other year listening, you are exactly the students that we had in mind. So the work that you're doing, I hope you know it means so much to our community. It means so much to the people that you're helping every single day. Sometimes I know that doesn't get noticed, but I'm really glad that No Place for Hate has this outstanding. I'm really glad that No Place for Hate has this outstanding citizenship award, so that you have the opportunity for all that great work that you do to get recognized. And so Representative Lenatra and I have, citations from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
And I will read Zoe's. So Zoe, this is for you from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Why don't you step up here? Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Zoe, say your last name for me. Wojda, in recognition of your commitment to social justice by challenging discrimination and bigotry, celebrating diversity, and protecting the civil rights of all people in our community. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all of your endeavors. And it's given today, July 8th, 2025, signed by the Speaker of the House, Ronald Mariano, State Representative Michelle Badger, and myself, State Representative Kathleen Lenatra. Congratulations. And we'll do this thing here. So Cassidy, if you would step up, we have a citation for you. And I won't read the being, but this is for your commitment to social justice by challenging discrimination and bigotry, celebrating diversity, and protecting the civil rights of all people in our community. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope of future good fortune and continued success in all of your endeavors. It's given to again today, the 8th of July, 2025, signed by myself, Kathleen Lenatra, State Representative Michelle Badger, and the Speaker of the House, Ronald Mariano. Congratulations. Well done. Not to be outdone.
So ladies, I'm here on behalf of State Senator Dylan Fernandez to also present you with State Senate citations. These are official citations, and they read, "Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Zoe Wojda, Plymouth South High School, and Cassidy McHale, Raising Tide Charter Public School, in recognition of the 2025 Plymouth No Place for Hate Committee Outstanding Citizenship Award for your dedication to social justice and diversity in our community. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. It's signed by the President of the Senate, Karen Spilka, the Clerk of the Senate, Michael D. Hurley, and Senator Dylan Fernandez, July 8th, 2025, and it's just a true testament to the great work that you both are doing. Thank you so much.
guess we'll go into the front to take a few photos, and then we'll return to the dais. Yes, very nice. All right, so that brings us into the next item on our agenda as our friends and family of our honored award recipients depart. We congratulate the recipients on all their hard work, and they are assets to the community. So the next item on our agenda would be the Coastal Routes LLC HCA approval. We are joined by Town Council Kate McKay. All right, so anything you would like to say in regards to the HCA, or are you just more here to answer our questions, should we have any?
I can just give a brief introduction if you'd like it. There's a host community agreement for your consideration between Coastal Routes, which is a new company to the town. They have a manufacturing establishment. Based on the HCA, they're going to be at 11 Richards Road, Unit 9. This HCA is the next step for them and what they need for documentation and paperwork in order to continue the process. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure if anybody's online from Coastal Routes or if anybody's on the Zoom, but we have been in fairly close contact. We got this finalized, and they had submitted, and they'd signed and submitted their signature, I think, maybe about 2 weeks ago. So
Okay.
they've been fairly responsive.
Okay. Do we have anyone joining us on the line? Oh, we have an individual in the...
There we go.
All right, if you'd like to take the podium and say a few words, introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Brandon Lynch, owner of Coastal Routes. Happy to be here. This has been, we started this process in February now, so, excited to wrap it up and finally get things finished as far as the build-out goes in the facility. We do have an existing provisional license already in Middleborough, so at the state level, we're good to go. Once we have this HCA, we can submit the transfer. It should take about 90 days, and then we can get the state in for final inspections and should, targeting January, February of next year to be up and running.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any questions for the applicant or town council from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, wish of the board in regards to the request for approval of the host community agreement.
Move to approve.
Ms. Iaquinta has made a motion that we approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Cohan has seconded. Any discussion from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinta?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
No.
And myself, yes, with a vote of 3 in favor, 1 in opposition. It does carry. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us into the next item on our agenda. That is special municipal employee designation review. We are joined by Town Clerk Kelly McElrath, and we are rejoined by Kate McKay, Town Council.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. Kelly McElrath, the Town Clerk. Back in April of 2024, you may recall the Select Board passed a policy in regards to special municipal employees. It was determined at that time that, based on some records that we uncovered, that it was uncertain who had the status and who did not have the status. So a new policy was passed, and part of that policy was to do a review in the first meeting of July to determine if the SME statuses that have been granted in the past still is a benefit to the town of Plymouth, and if those statuses should be continued. So before you this evening is, I believe it's 4 current positions that we currently have, and 1 new position, the seasonal natural resource officer. No. I used all my words up during the oaths. So I'm here, and the applicants, I believe most of the applicants, keep in mind, just as a reminder, special municipal employee status allows someone to either take from 2 buckets or represent against the town. So the planning board, a member of the planning board is looking for it because he sometimes does. You've got the memos in front of you, so you can read why the planning board is doing it. But the other positions are mostly because of seasonal, like, they might be paid for by the school, and in order to continue to work for the town, they would need this status.
And so it's for, when you say take from 2 buckets, so you have somebody that works for one town department and also wants to do some type of other work for another town department.
Correct. The natural resource position is a good example.
Yep.
I believe the application indicated that at the end of the year, they have the college kids that go back, and they still have to get through a couple weekends.
Mhm.
So they either hire animal control, or they might take some people from recreation. So by classifying that position as SME, it allows them to do that.
And then, in terms of the ability to represent in front of a board or committee, so they'd be representing, it's also, they could do work that's going to be used by a board or committee, right?
Correct.
So I know this particular planning board applicant is a land surveyor, so does like meets and bounds of territory, and then might be called upon to testify as to the accuracy of the method that used or the actual meets and bounds of a piece of property, right?
Correct.
And so an SME would be able to, if granted SME status, would be able to, to do that work for money, and then would be able to come in front of a board and answer those types of questions, whether it's their board or some other board. Is that an accurate summary?
Yes.
And so absent an SME designation, an individual would not be able to do that, right?
Correct.
So the standard is you can't do it, and these are exceptions being made to that for one reason or another.
Exactly.
And when we passed, if memory serves, when we passed that policy back in April of 2024, it was designed to target what would be the benefit in the town, to the town, of having this individual have a status of a special municipal employee, correct?
Yes.
And for a body or entity that has multiple members, you're not giving it to the listed individual, you're giving it to the position, correct?
Exactly. So if the application before you for the planning board, all 5 members of the elected planning board would be considered special municipal employees.
Sure, and if we granted it today, and then either the applicant, the specific applicant for the planning board, for instance, or one of the other individuals on the planning board did something that we found objectionable with the SME, or there was some other reason where it was being used not in the interest of the town, that granting of SME for that position could be re-examined by the board at a time of our choosing, correct?
Correct. The Mass General Law determines, the Select Board determines who has SME, special municipal employee status.
And we have the ability to grant or rescind
Correct.
that status. It is, but we also can't grant it to ourselves, correct?
No, you can.
I believe in a town of 10,000 or more, you can't. I think under that you can, but I think there's a population count.
I would have to double check that that law. I thought we could, but you might, you might be better familiar with it than I am.
Okay, I'm fairly confident that we
Okay.
can't, but it's moot because we're not applying for it, but, okay. All
My
right.
my previous community was under 10,000, so that's why.
Well, there you go. There you go. Must be nice. All right. So, Attorney McKay, anything you would like to add?
No, I believe you are correct. You could not give it to yourself based on the population.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we have a number of listed positions, but for those, as a reminder, those positions that have more than one individual serving in them. So there's only one director of assessing, for example, but the planning board, there are 5 elected members of the planning board and 1 alternate. And then obviously the other positions could have multiple. I assume the directors are singular, but the officers, the resource officers, are multiple. So with that in mind, what is the wish of the board in regards to the SME applications? Do you want to take them individually, or would you like to take them as a group? I will defer to the board.
I'd move them as a group unless the board member requests otherwise.
Okay. Mr. Quintal suggests that we move them as a group. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. So Mr. Quintal moves to vote on them as a group. Mr. Cohan has seconded. Any discussion as to whether or not we should approve these listed positions, not the individuals, but the listed positions for special municipal employee status? Mr. Quintal?
We're only approving the ones that you have listed here.
Correct.
Okay.
This is a 12-month appointment. This is just for 12 months.
Right, yep.
Yeah, when we passed that policy, we required them to apply by the end of the year and be reviewed at our first meeting of the new year if they want to continue it, and if they don't apply, then they lose it unless they reapply. So this would be if these positions want to continue with this next year, or if they'd have to reapply, and anyone else that wants an SME designation can apply at any time.
That's what I was referring to.
Yes.
This is one that I definitely have questions about, so I
And-
just want to make sure that that's not.
Yes, that one is not being reviewed this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just one more question. So these, when we approve these tonight, assuming we approve these tonight,
Yep.
they will be in effect for the full year unless we rescind it
Correct.
prior? So
Unless
would
we
have the
rescind it. Yep.
right, if there was some issue or something.
So if someone did something with it, either one of these listed individuals or someone else that is in that position, that the board felt it was not in the interest of the town for that position to still have SME designation, we could rescind it at a time of our choosing.
Okay, thank you.
And then obviously, anything that happened during that 12 months could be assessed as to whether we wanted to renew it in the event that the applicants wanted to renew it as well, if we didn't rescind it. All right. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I do have some of my own. I think that the listed positions here are in the interest of the town for the individuals to have these positions. The Director of Assessing also serves on the Board of Assessors, and in order to wear both of those hats, needs to have SME status. The Sports Clinic Director, Summer Sports Clinic Director, Seasonal Natural Resources Officers are all positions where we're looking for have someone that works in one other town department on a more regular basis, also basically moonlighting for another department when their other job is either not in season, such as if they're a teacher, or when the duties are in different balance. So that's in the interest of the community. And then, in my opinion at least, and then the only person listed that's applying on behalf of the planning board is Mr. Bennett, who is a land surveyor, and it's to the benefit of the town to have someone that is knowledgeable on land surveying. There's a technical skill. Serve on the planning board. I have attended in person and watched virtually a number of planning board meetings where Mr. Bennett's comments and remarks are insightful and informed by his day job. His day job involves doing surveying work in a variety of different communities, and he wouldn't be able to tell his boss realistically, I can't do that in Plymouth. When he does, if he does appear in front of a board or committee, it's just to give factual information. These are the dimensions of this property, as opposed to doing something like advocating on behalf of a client or trying to convince. The fact that he is a planning board member is, in my opinion, immaterial to his appearance before a board or committee, because it's just not that type of appearance. Those are just my opinions. Feel free to accept or reject them at your leisure. With that in mind, any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It is unanimous. The listed positions have all been granted special municipal employee designation for the 2025, for fiscal year 2026, I suppose. Based on our policy, we will review them again if they wish to renew at the end of the fiscal year. All right, so that brings us into the next item on our agenda, that being public comment. Do we have anyone in attendance wishing to give public comment? Yes, please come to the microphone, identify yourself, and you will be given 3 minutes in which to speak.
Good evening, Kate Sakarik, 26 Bradford Street. A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Cohan had suggested that the board consider putting together or appointing a committee to look at the sand and gravel removal in town. And I know you can't answer this, but I wanted to know if the board had met or discussed that at all since that had happened. I think that we're on a collision course with this issue, because I know that, there are several people in town who, have strong opinions. I think it's an issue that needs to be looked at. I think it's something that needs to be looked at by a group of different people, but I think it needs to be made official. I'm worried that there are developers who are going to start coming into town and, yes, we can develop here, but the bonus is we can, remove more of your sand and gravel to, sell it on the market. Every time I get something in the mail, it comes with a silica packet, and it's no mistake that, that's a hazardous material that you can't eat. So if it's going into the air when, it's not supposed to be, and if we're hauling our sand out and, we're going to open up sinkholes and ruin our aquifer, I mean, I'm surprised that this hasn't become a more urgent issue, and I'm surprised that there isn't a committee looking at it besides, the public figures who are currently involved, be that as it may.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to give public comment? Yes, Mr. Lyden?
Steve Lyden, Precinct 17. I've been working with Sea Plymouth about the renovations for the visitor center on the waterfront. And for a lot of reasons, it's kind of standstill, and it really hasn't gone anyplace. But this year now, there's an opportunity to get a grant for $200,000 and to help with the renovations of that building. But one of the key persons who's done so much is Kyle Anderson, our facilities director. And I want to publicly thank him, because he has gone out of his way and he's done a fantastic job helping to get the information and getting this grant filled out to be sent into the state. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lyden. Any other? Yes, Mr. Weber, please come to the podium and identify yourself.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Dale Weber, and I'm appearing tonight on behalf of the Collective Bargaining Relief Association with the acronym of COBRA. Tonight's comments are regarding the Plymouth DPW, specifically the Building Maintenance Division, and those responsible for Memorial Hall. I watched with interest the presentation you had last week by Mr. Bill Coyle and Mr. Carl Anderson and friends with their list of items to bring the 100-year-old building up to par at the cost of some $30 million. In particular, I draw your attention to the video at the presentation of the cement veneer wall behind the stage area that was cracked and was separating from the brick exterior wall on the north side of the building, and how that was on their to-do list. I was surprised to hear that a contractor was hired and came in this past week and demolished that wall. To my point, the crew that came here to demolish the wall left the hall, the entire hall, from floor to ceiling and everything in between, with a generous and thorough coating of what is presumed to be silica dust, a byproduct of the cementous material the wall was made of 100 years ago. Silica is also a known carcinogen and is hazardous to many people. I say it's presumed to be silica, but test results will make that determination. I'm not sure if the town has undertaken the process, but Cobra has. And we have done so without hesitation, because we are very familiar with the process, having favorably prevailed in 3 different arbitration decisions in the past for construction projects involving asbestos, 1 for mercury, and a couple for silica, and 1 for lead paint excursions. Unfortunately, we are now here again, apparently still learning from mistakes that are costly in dollars and impactful to the safety and health of employees, and in a building like Memorial Hall, to members of the public. Our current employees at Memorial Hall have filed first report of injury forms with Human Resources and the Plymouth Retirement Board, as is required. And we now look for this board, your board, to do what needs to happen and close Memorial Hall until such time as a professional hazmat cleaning crew certifies the air quality and the safety of the employees and the public prior to it being reopened. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Machado, please come to the podium, identify yourself for the record.
Good evening, folks. For those of you that don't know me, Butch Machado, former selectman, retired town employee and vice president of Cobra. I'm here to echo President Weber's concerns at Memorial Hall, but not only for our members, but doing the research that I did today, I found out that pickleball was played last night by, I presume that's a game that retired people play, at Memorial Hall. So I would think that someone should notify those people of a possible exposure. I'm familiar with the wall. For many decades, I was after many superintendents, as well as this current administration. I let Bill, Carl, even before him, Nick Hill and Jonathan Beda know that those bricks needed to be sealed outside. I know this because my family, I'm a 7th-generation painter, and we used to seal many of the brick buildings in this town. Unfortunately, at some time, this building will need the bricks to be resealed. It's an ongoing process to avoid the brick from becoming like a sponge and then that moisture coming in. That powdery fine dust that was behind that wall, we used to, Jim Ward and myself, Eddie Benton and myself before that, used to spend winters painting, spraying that to encapsulate it and seal it in. But that project was done away with because the wintertime painting by a former DPW director was void. It had run its course, and no administrators ever took it upon to renew that program. Since then, I've retired. I will also let you know that that whole problem, that fine dust that we're talking about is a white powdery film. Anybody familiar with sanding sheetrock knows that that stuff gets in the air. When it gets in your nose, you blow your nose, and all that white soot and stickiness comes out, and it sticks to your lungs. That's what we're talking about for the powder there. I'm familiar with that. I dealt with this kind of stuff my whole life growing up in a family of painters. I am really tired of always being referred to as inner management circles like to refer to Dale and myself as the 2 troublemakers. Well, you know something? Somebody's got to watch out for the little guys. And unfortunately, before OSHA had any jurisdiction over communities, guys like me were thrown into buildings to sweep up silica dust and everything else because we had no choice. But you know what? It's not right. And you know what? This isn't the first time that complaints have been made about Memorial Hall and some of this stuff. To send my members in and expect them to clean up after a crew that should have had HEPA filters going outside to do this, there should have been drop curtains placed in place. Where was the facilities director overseeing this, or the operations manager? We spend millions of dollars in administrator's salary. I want to know where those people were until yesterday morning when my men walked in there, they were told just clean the mess.
You've exceeded your 3 minutes. Do you need additional time, or have you concluded?
Thank you for the offer, but I'm getting really upset about this because I've had long-term damage to my lungs because of exposure, because of past administrations, and to watch this just makes me sick.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else physically in attendance wishing to give public comment? Do we have anyone virtually wishing to give public comment? We do not. All right, that brings us to the town manager's report. Mr. Brindisi?
Great, thank you. So first I'd like to start just as a announcement that the 4th edition of the Plymouth Magazine has been released. The hard copy version of this magazine will be available at next week's On the Road Select Board meeting. Right now, if folks want to see this now, they can just go to the town website where the electronic version was posted last week. I just want to recognize an event that took place a couple weekends ago. As we all know, it was highly publicized. There was an individual, a young boy, who was lost in the woods. I had the opportunity to go to the incident command location where we had a number of law enforcement and search officials on scene from Metrolec, State Police, environmental police officers, and certainly our Plymouth Police and Fire Departments and EMS. And having been there, I want to thank them all for their work. They spent close to 24 hours doing ground searches. We had the State Police Air Wing in the air looking for this individual. The incident command was led by certainly Chief Flynn. The incident commander on scene at the time was Deputy Chief LeBreton, who spent 24 hours out in the field. It was a hot day, so I want to thank them all personally for the work that they have done in finding this young man and returning him home safely to his parents. So a lot of credit goes to their efforts in bringing this boy home, so thank them all. I also would just like to announce the retirement of Dennis Ward, who was an 18-year police officer who retired a couple of weeks back, and Sergeant Stephen Gibbons, who was a 28-year police officer who just recently retired as well. And then just as far as a DPW update, the Justine Road project has been completed as far as the mill and overlay. The DPW contractor is now moving on to a mill and overlay project over at Brentwood Circle, Henry Drive, and Ferry Lane as well. So that'll take a couple weeks for that project to be completed. And then last, before I turn this over to Jade, who's going to do a short presentation on the new platform for boards and committee members, I just wanted to thank Matt Tavares and his team for a great, successful 4th of July. I'm sure you all made comments yourself at some point, but having had the opportunity to walk on the parade, the individuals who attended had so much energy, were so excited, were very thankful for such a great parade and a great fireworks event. So I know this is the 4th of July Committee's official going away party, but they did such an amazing job. So kudos to Matt Tavares and his team for putting on another great 4th of July festival. And again, our fire, EMS, police department, and DPW, they're all behind the scenes, making sure it's safe, making sure that it goes off smoothly. You don't see that. You don't see what our DPW crews are doing in the morning and at night, cleaning up and setting up, and you certainly don't see what our fire and police departments are doing behind the scenes, making sure that all the spectators are always kept safe. So again, thanking all of them for their efforts at this very successful 4th of July weekend. So I'm going to turn the the last part of this presentation over to Jade.
Thank you. Jade Anderton, Executive Assistant to the Town Manager and the Select Board. I just wanted to tell the community a little bit about our new board and committee platform, On Board. We started initiating this back in January, and so this most recent application and reapplication period went smoother than ever. We were able to consolidate all applications, pass them on to the appropriate appointing authority, such as the Select Board, the Planning Board, and then send out letters to all of the applicants and appointees through this one site. And if I can, I'll walk you through how to apply for a board or committee if you're interested in doing so. So on the town website, right on the homepage, if you go to Government, on the left side there is a whole tab for boards and committees. And so if you click on boards and committees, you can look at the overall list of every committee that's in town. If you click on the committee itself, you're able to see all of the information that's pertinent to that committee. The Select Board, of course, is an elected board, so there's no vacancies, but if there were ever any vacancies, it would show you right here. It'll give you a brief description of what the committee is for and what it does, and we'll tell you the committee schedule and then who is currently serving on there with their term dates. If you are interested in applying to a committee, you can go again to Government. Under boards and committees, there's a list of vacancies. There's also a link directly to the application. But if you click on vacancies, it will bring you to a site that shows you all current expired or vacant positions on any board or committee. Some of them, of course, are appointed by the town moderator or the town manager, and those might have a different application process than ones that are appointed by the Select Board. But either way, when you see them here, if you see apply at the right-hand side, you are able to click that directly. So let's say I wanted to apply to the Board of Assessors. I could click apply here. It would bring me directly to the application with the option of applying to the Board of Assessors. And then you just fill out all of your information, and that gets sent directly to us in real time. It's also very beneficial because if you would like to apply for more than one board, or say you are currently serving on more than one board or committee, you can actually apply to more than one at the same time. And it just consolidates the entire application process. So we're very excited to use this moving forward, and it's been a hit on the administrative side so far.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Anderton. And I will say that the applications that were generated through that process that we had 3 weeks ago, that large appointment meeting, they were very detailed. There were people that applied for multiple positions. There were people that were only reapplying for their current position. But this process made it a lot easier than some other processes in the past. It's an intrinsically difficult process in some, because some of the boards and committees have, it's not just a position, it's a position with prerequisites that you have to meet, but we made it as simple as our form of government would allow us to make it. And I think, Jade, you had a big hand in making it work on there, and also you did a lot of work behind the scenes before the meeting to make it work more smoothly. So I want to recognize that as well. So thank you for that. Anyone else have any questions or anything in the town manager's report? Mr. Cohan?
Yes, Jay, that's very impressive. It's nice to see that we're taking advantage of the technology of the day to incorporate people applying for these committees and boards. A form of government requires a level of community participation. I think it's beneficial to the residents and the town. One of the things that I was thinking is that, as someone is appointed to a committee, could we, when they submit their information, is there any way we can give them a copy of the guiding principles that gives someone who's coming on board with the town to serve on a committee and board some of the expectations we have for their conduct? So I think that would be a nice addition as you're working on this in the future. The other thing I could think of is, as people's times come to an end on the committee, we have their email address. We could notify them that their time is up and they need to get online and reapply. I'm sure you're thinking of that too. So those are the two things. I did bump into this the other day when I went online, so it looks very good, so thank you very much.
I do believe Ms. Anderton sent out emails about 7 or 8 weeks before terms expired and then, or before the application process closed, and then again about 3 or 4 weeks before. But yes, and I do think the guiding principles, sending that out would be a good idea, for what it's worth. Any other questions or comments for the town manager's report, or, in a rare appearance, Ms. Anderton? All right, hearing and seeing none. Select board discussion. Do we have any new business from board members? All right. Do we have any letters? Any old business? Mr. Quintal?
It's old and new.
Okay.
The situation we have going down White Horse Beach, I've got a lot of phone calls. I've actually shown you some of the texts I got last week. And then there was some talk of a committee. I made some suggestions to Derek, and I called Desmond Egan at the Park Plymouth today to get some information. So he's tracking the tickets that were put out, in '24 versus the ones so far this year, and they're pretty much, without looking at it, pretty close. But the problem is, under the new, help me out, Derek, if I don't have it right here, the RFP for this year, there was X amount of dollars, and I don't know that amount, but the problem is the police department was going to fill in on the days that the enforcement company, whatever you might want to call them, weren't there, and we know we don't have enough police officers, so I think that's the issue. And to say that, you hear it all over town, well, because it's White Horse Beach. Let me tell you something. This is a town problem. The town has created this problem because you let developers go into that area and put skyscrapers in, and then there's no place to park. And it's going on, and there's new permits going out in the next couple weeks. So I believe, at least I think, I represent those people as much as anybody that lives around here, or wherever you live. 106 square miles, or is it 1.5?
105.
105, okay. 105 on the square miles. But I don't know if we could, there was talk of a committee, and I'm not saying to do that, but I think we deserve to give it attention. And when I say the town's created, I don't mean exactly the board, but let's face it, we take the blame for everything, whether we like it or not. That's just part of the gig. But we had these problems at Morton Park. We put in a safety lane at the beach. So it's not like it's just White Horse Beach. It worked fine for, I didn't write it down, was it a year or 2 years? And now it's rearing its head, and it's because we don't have the enforcement on the off days. So naturally, that's going to come down to money, I believe. So I just don't think we should not return the citizens' calls. I'm not, anybody that calls or texts me, I'm going to reply, but I think we as a board need to listen to the people and see if we can't fix it. I don't know if we can fix it for this year, but at least give an ear and address it. I mean, we had another constituent tonight speak about sand removal. It is time that we sit with Ms. Sheehan and the chairman of the planning board and have a little meeting. And there's got to be a balance. Instead of the fighting and all the legal battles, there can be something that everybody can live in. It's better for our community. So I wished her a happy 4th of July, too.
Well, that's
I
good.
was actually having a Bud Light, and I said, Meg, this one's for you.
All right. Well, that's...
So, I mean, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? I mean...
Well, I think that keeping an eye on it as it develops this year, and I do think it did come down to money. That's why the vendor isn't there 7 days. So obviously we can, whatever happens, we can make a case for the future that more money is needed for 7 days of enforcement. And you're right that the police are spread thin anyways. So I think trying to do what we can do with the resources we have this year, I don't think the solution will be perfect, but trying to do what we can do is the best we can do right now. But keeping all of this in mind and keeping track of it and making a stronger case for more funding for next year is important, because Plymouth is, as always, is a work in progress, so.
And we're not getting any smaller, so.
No, unfortunately,
You
we're
know,
going the other
once
way.
you fix White Horse, we got Morton going this year, so far, so good. And they're gonna, I don't wanna use the word migrate, but they're gonna move to another place when it's hot.
It's
just-
whack-a-mole, yes.
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 But I just don't, we had such good progress there, just to let it, I don't know.
Yes. No, I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on and do what we can now and make a stronger case for the future for next year with the Fender.
I'll keep you updated, and Desmond is gonna send Derek the
Okay.
financials.
That would be great.
Something to look at.
Thank you. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yeah, I just have a clarifying question for Mr. Quintal, because I'm not really quite sure what the problem is. I think I'm sort of reading between the lines that we have a problem with parking or ticketing or something like that. But
Yes.
just for people that are watching, maybe if we could articulate what the specific problem is that you noticed in the last few days or few weeks at
Well, it's
White
been
Horse
going on
Place.
like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't-
why
you know,
people are calling, what the complaints are. That- I think
Because
that
they
would be
were
helpful.
enforcing the correct parking, not overstaying your time or parking where you're not supposed to.
Right.
But if you have a sticker, I think it's a sticker, right?
Yeah, it's a sticker.
You can go
It's a
in and
parking
park.
district.
Right, the parking district. And we had this issue, I don't know, several years ago, it was really out of control. And then it went along nicely, but because of money, I think, that it's not being patrolled every day. So it's the days that there's no patrolling that they're having the big issues. So
I
it's
think-
definitely that.
Yeah, I think the
So,
vendor's there 5
Yes.
out of 7 days.
Yeah.
Because the other 2 days, I mean, there's problems on the other 5, but they're dealt with. Whereas the other 2 days where there's no dedicated enforcement is more Wild West.
And, I hats off to the, PPD trying to do it. This has nothing to do with that. I just know that, one, I think our officers have enough things that are more important to do. But on the other hand, we don't have enough people to even do that right now, so
Right.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I'm trying.
Mr. Cohen?
So I would support that initiative, but I would see if we could gather some more information about the results of what's going on at White Horse Beach as a result of this 3rd of July and this summer. Might be time to put together a working group at the pleasure of this board to host a series of meetings with the Minimet Village Steering Committee to come up with some recommendations back to us. So if we are going to respond, we get some community neighborhood input about specifically what the concerns are, because obviously we want to make sure that the work that went into designing this program is successful, because it's a program that could theoretically be replicated in other parts of Plymouth. Other parts of Plymouth, North Plymouth and downtown Plymouth, they're really getting into some traffic-related and parking issues. And this program that is the first of its kind in Plymouth, really, of any magnitude of this nature, could be expanded when it comes to residential parking and things of that nature to an area that's under a lot of stress during seasonal activity. So I think it's a good idea that be looked at. The other thing that I mentioned this last week, a couple weeks back, about the conditions at Plymouth Beach and how they're handling the parking and how we've had these new lanes of moving people safely in and out of the area. The shuttle bus, the people coming from satellite parking areas, I know you were going to look into what that might look like over at Plymouth Patuxent.
Plymouth Patuxent.
I know something that we should look at as a, I didn't know if that had been looked into yet, or any, the last time I heard at some of the seasonal employees, maybe they didn't have it, the most recent information, but they were under the impression that they were directing people to that parking lot for satellite parking, and just wanted to know how that.
Well, the rec director is here, and she
Right.
can certainly answer the question about Plymouth Patuxent.
Right.
But, as you can imagine, Plymouth Beach gets full, and then we
Yeah.
move folks over to the overflow parking, which is right next door to Burt's.
Right.
But I could say, Mr. Cohen, that when we look at successful models, if you look at the model this year that's being piloted over at Plymouth Beach, we have kiosks. We're using seasonal employees instead of collecting money.
Right.
They're doing the enforcement at Plymouth Beach. That's a model that we should look at Whitehorse Beach, adding kiosks along Taylor Ave, and using seasonal employees to do enforcement. Folks, our residents can still use the sticker program, just like they do at Plymouth Beach, but it's been extremely successful. In fact, I had a number of phone calls over the weekend of the enforcement aspect of our seasonal employees doing a great job. So I think that's something, if the board wishes, that we should look at that model and applying that model into the Whitehorse Beach area. But, Ann, could you come forward and answer the question by the select board regarding Plymouth Patuxent?
So I'll clarify. So there's, I had a chance to go down and walk the beach and talk to some of the seasonal workers. They were doing a great job. It was amazing, the level of maturity I saw. I mean, they are college students, so they were doing a great job. And what you're doing there is a program that's working. And I do like how the lanes that you've created to get people in and out of there safely, people going beyond the beach or just moving around the beach parking lot. So that's something that hasn't been addressed for many years, and it was pretty impressive. At one point during my conversation, someone said that at a certain point, we can't let anybody in because we don't have any more parking. We have an overflow area, as indicated by the town manager, next to Burt's. But then there was talk about directing people to the parking lot up at Plymouth Patuxent, and I didn't know if that was something that we had an understanding, an arrangement. That was the question.
We try to tell people to come back and not to park over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tell my staff to tell people the park is full when the parking lot hits capacity, and not to tell them to go park like at Pawtucks or anything like that, because it's not our property.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So we don't have an arrangement, and we're not instructing
No.
that. Okay.
No.
I just wanted a clarification.
Yeah, people go over there on their
Yeah.
own and park there, but
Yeah.
we don't. Yeah.
So have you thought of other satellite locations where people could be directed to, where there'd be a shuttle capability?
I think for like a place like Plymouth Beach, it would be tough just with the lifeguards. The more people you add to the beach, more
Okay.
coverage you're going to need, the more
All right.
incidents you could possibly have.
The
So
bathroom capacity.
I think when it gets to
Yeah.
capacity, you're talking about almost 300 vehicles in there.
Yeah.
So I think like for the lifeguards and the
Right.
staff that are there, I would probably stick with just when we hit capacity, keeping it at capacity, and then reopening it when we have more spots open.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure.
Doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other old business? Okay, Mr. Cohen?
We did mention a couple weeks back this idea.
Oh, your mic.
Oh, sorry, mic's on. We did mention a few weeks back this idea of putting together a working group to look at the sand and gravel removal bylaw that we're currently operating from.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we should be looking into again. I know you mentioned that the next time that we meet up with the planning board might be an opportunity
Yes.
to broach that subject. I think time is of the essence. I think we should reach out to the planning board to start a dialogue with them about, what a working group might look like in terms of finding and appointing people to it between the two boards, identifying different people in other committees. So I think that we should plan to, reach out to them sooner rather than later. I'll defer to the chair how you want to pursue that, and I'll be happy to work with you on those concepts. So feel free to reach out to me. And just finally, tonight we heard something about Memorial Hall and removing material, building materials, for them to move from the stage out into the main viewing area is a great concern. We have a lot of activities going on at Memorial Hall, and I've been around long enough to have weathered the different discussions about problematic buildings in removing material and the problems that they've caused. They can get quite expensive. They can be life-threatening, obviously. So I think that what's been brought to our attention tonight, I hope that the staff will be looking into that the best they can in terms of testing and advising us what next steps should be taken as a result of what has gone on over at that building this past week.
Okay. Thank you. Any other old business? If no one else, I will, first and foremost, I do want to echo Mr. Brindisi's thanks to Matt Tavares and everyone else on the July 4th committee, not just for this year, but for many years of dedicated service. Came about a number of years ago, pre-me, in every sense of the word. when the community wasn't able to have a 4th of July celebration for a brief period, and citizens stepped up to make that a possibility, and they've been carrying that for a number of years and doing a tremendous job. They don't control things like the weather or the temperature, but in terms of everything they can control, I think they've always done a spectacular job in all the 4ths that I've attended since I was a little kid all the way to being almost 40. So I congratulate them on all the work that they have done. I know that Mr. Brindisi, Mr. Cohan, Ms. Iaquinto, Mr. Golden, and I all had a great time handing out flags to the kids along the route. We had 5,000 of them, and we almost made it the entire route this year. So we just need maybe another 1,000 more and maybe one less grandchild, and we we need that space. So, but it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good reactions from people. People really appreciated it, and it was nice to involve, to get out there and talk to people briefly and brighten their day a little bit by giving their kids a little something. Then in terms of the sand and gravel issue, so I have reached out to the chair of the planning board as well as the director of planning and development to get the ball rolling on thinking about that. That is a zoning bylaw, so it requires a zoning bylaw change, so it needs to be a planning board initiative or it needs to go before the planning board in order to have that done. And I know they're having some acute staffing shortages right now that are causing a little bit of delays, but it is definitely something on their radar, and that's why I think when we have our next meeting, we can do a formal thing, but we are behind the scenes trying to get the ball rolling on at least revving the engine up to be able to start looking at particularly the use of incidental as it relates to that. But we can expand upon that in more depth at the appropriate time. In regards to Memorial Hall, obviously, I hope we're doing everything we can to make sure that it's safe for our employees and members of the public and anyone else at Memorial Hall to be in there, regardless of the other issues going on. I know that there were some very pressing concerns, but I would certainly hope that we're doing those things and that the board will be kept informed as those efforts are undertaken. And last but not least, next week we will be at our second on the road, this one at South Elementary School at 6 p.m. The purpose of next week's meeting will be to listen to constituents and answer their questions to the best that we are able. We had one in Cedarville last month that was very successful, and we look forward to having this one this month and more to come in the future. So with that, any other new business or old business from board members? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn, having concluded our business?
So-
Mr. Quintal moves.
Second.
Ms. Iaquinto seconds. Call for the vote. Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal? Yes. And myself, yes. It is unanimous. We are adjourned at 7:43 p.m. Thank you.